Today we continue our experiments on the basis of the Russian Scientific Research Institute of Apiculture, which is on the ground of old Russian town Ryazan, which is nearly 100 miles from Moscow. This is the oldest scientific institution engaged in the study of bees in Russia. We will try not interfere with the scientists who conduct their experiments on a small apiary located near the academic buildings. Their presence will allow us to ask questions and get expert advice. But at first, in order not to hinder scientific activity, we will visit the Beekeeping Museum, located on the campus. This is not bad collection of old and not very old hives, equipment, tools and literature. Basically, of course, all the materials of Russian origin, as the museum was created in the Soviet Union. There is a hall dedicated to the biology of bees. And the hall, which presents the results of the processing technology of bee products. Now we return back to our experimental apiary. Here we begin our testing and consultations with scientists. Our main question for today is diagnostics of bee colonies during the honey harvest, and the identification of situations in which our device informs about the presence of the passive state in the family. While we see that hive does not seem to be out of work on the honey harvest, some families are pre-inspected. We join the inspection. All families in this part of the apiary quite strong. By the way, it is necessary to mention here that the breed which is bred here is improved kind of Russian breed of bee, so-called Okhskaya bee. The name of the breed comes from the name of one of the largest rivers in central Russia, the Oka River. The breed was obtained on the basis of Russian bees with the introduction of genetic material of bees of Grey Mountain Caucasian bee. Bee tolerates cold, as well as Russian, but more peaceful and well employs on honey harvest from meadow plants. Well, let's start our experiments. The measurements were started, and here are the results. Ventilation and a good job. It is a very good result. Ventilation, work and a bit of excitement. Okay. Perhaps it was disturbed a little before. Let us go to another group of hives. Measurement is started, and here's the result. A small ventilation, passive bees, a little work and a little excitement. This is a situation about which we speak. Let us check the following beehive. A good job. Another hive, and again we see ventilation, and good work. Again, the scientists of the Institute of Beekeeping joined us, and we are discussing the possible cause of this strange diagnosis. Bees fly, and fly it seems good. But the diagnosis indicates the passive state of the family. In the family, more unemployed bees than working actively on the honey harvest. When we open the hives, we see a large number of bees, hanging like a beard on the lower and side bars of frames with combs. These are the passive unemployed bees. We and our device hear precisely them. Biologists explain the situation. Everything is quite simple. The family built up a sufficiently large force in anticipation of the main honey flow, but the chill and rain reduced the honey productivity of the plants. In addition, the possibility of food supply around the apiary of the Institute is quite limited. This is meadow grasses. That is why a big part of the bees is not involved in the work on a small honey harvest. These bees can be the basis of a swarm, even in the middle of summer and in the midst of honey collection. If the bees of this family will be transported to the fields as a part of itinerant apiary, then all they will join in the work, and rack up a lot of honey. Scientists tell us that they have already had to disrupt in some families swarming queen cells. Well, let us proceed to the second half of the apiary, which is in charge of other scientific officer of the Institute. Again, we look bee signals using the monitor mode. The device displays a good job. Here, once again confirmed, that diagnosis of family status does not depend on family's size. Here we see a small families that work well and large families in which half of the bees are passive. Finally, we have tested the family educator with 20 queens, located in the cages. Signals of this family fully alike the signals of normal family with one queen. Here we saw a normal work of not very high activity and ventilation. Thus, we can say that for bees, it does not matter that the number of queens in the family is more than one. The main thing, they must have at least one. However, we do not see a uniform distribution of the attention of bees to the queens, located in the cages. Scientists say that the bees always choose 2 or 3 queens, which they actively feed, and others may not be fed at all. This is why the other queens have to be fed by honey manually. This attitude of bees to the queens once again confirms the possibility of keeping bees with multiple queens in one hive for rapid buildup of force of the families to the main honey harvest. Okay, we thank the staff of the Institute of Beekeeping for help in determining issues which were so important for us. Now it is clear to us that diagnostic of passive state of the family despite a good flight of bees to honey collection, it's not a mistake of our device. This is an excessive amount of young bees, which are out of work during this honey harvest. When beekeeper receives such a diagnosis, he will have a question what to do. I think that experienced beekeepers know the answer to this question. You can take a variety of actions to try to give the bees work. On the construction of honeycombs or cleaning combs with perished brood, carry out the procedure of artificial swarming, which will separate passive bees from working bees, or to make offshoot. Everyone has his own methods. The main thing is that our device Apivox Auditor, when beekeeper use general condition monitoring mode of the family, allows to understand the situation, and to take adequate measures in time. We once again thank the Russian Scientific Research Institute of Apiculture for the help they have given us.